Hello, Schmoeville. Well, this is where it starts to get very interesting in Phase 3 of the Schmoes Know podcast. If you've been watching the channel, thank you. You've been catching up to old episodes. And again, if you are familiar with Phase 5 and you started watching in Phase 5 and you're catching up on all this, how did it become the zoo that it is today? Because as you're watching in these past ones, for the most part, it was myself and Mark, and yeah, we had Catherine Reitman in there. And throughout Phase 1, 2, and 3, you started to see like Mark Riley and Ken Knapsack and Josh McCouga called into the last one. When did it start turning into that? Well, this very episode was kind of like the building block of it. And why? Because we had on a guest, someone who's been on a handful of times and was the first guest ever on the show in one, Katee Sackhoff. Now, the great part about this was the fact that this is the episode where she decided she agreed that she would become the co-host for the show for as long as she could until she was back working on her other show. So what did we talk about? We talked about the top actors working today, and a lot of them are still relevant. Obviously, it's only 2 years ago, so we went through a lot of different actors, ones that she liked working with, ones that she wants to work with, ones that we really dug, and our favorite actors. And it was cool to hear kind of if our opinions have changed on those people and how we feel about them now. For the most part, it's the same. But yeah, it was just for the show in general. It was great because we had Katee join the show, and from here on out, it was still a morning show. This was one of the we recorded from Universal Studios for a long time. This was the second to last show we ever did at Universal Studios, and this was the last time Toad Hop ever broadcasted from Universal Studios. So there was a lot going on in the transition of the show. This is where it really started to pick up steam, and obviously when Katee came on, it added a lot to the show, and you can just tell in this one, the dynamic between the three of us, it worked. So take a listen, watch this one, and keep on watching, or watching and listening. If you want to watch the actual video, link is in the description to do that as well. Some people have been saying, how do I do that? I don't know how to do it. It's simple. You click on the Toad Hop thing on the description, and on the right-hand side, there's a little video player. Hit play, it'll start for you. That's it. So enjoy episode 59 of Phase 3 of the Schmoes Know podcast.
Live from Universal Studios Hollywood in beautiful Los Angeles, California.
ToadHopNetwork.com.
Radio worth watching.
Radio worth watching.
So funny. I mean, you always think that it's just like, it's chaos, and then it all soothes together. It's the Schmoes Know movie show. It's me, Christian Harloff.
And I'm Mark Ellis. You just got to get through the eye of the storm sometime, Christian. Right. And I have a big smile on my face.
And why do you have a smile on your face?
Well, I mean, look, think about how lucky we are, first of all.
We're very lucky.
We get to see movies early. Yep. We get to do this lovely podcast. And then occasionally we have a really, really cool guest on the podcast. I don't know who this young lady who just sat down is. Maybe you should introduce her.
I will introduce her. And the funny thing is that before her fans were ready to lynch us because they didn't see her, here she is, Katee Sackhoff. How are you?
I'm good. Hi.
Nice to be welcome back. Now, here's the thing with Katee is that
I was late.
Well, you were late. What's funny is that
she wasn't late. She actually, as soon as I picked her up outside the club.
Right.
You know,
look at you.
I was hooking outside Saddle Ranch.
she was turning some tricks on a mechanical bull.
I was trying to pay for my valet parking.
And the first thing she said was, "I'm 3 minutes early," so she knows she's punctual.
Well, yeah, and she's punctual, yes. What's funny is that both our two actresses that have been in recently, both her and Bonnie Somerville, both went to the wrong entrances. That's because they're professionals and they don't come here to ride the Jaws line. They come here to try to get jobs.
That's right.
Because I think Bonnie and I are probably both thinking the same thing. Like, no, gate 4 is over here.
Right. That's exactly why.
That's Spielberg's office is over there.
Yeah, well, Mark and I know that because we just sit there like hoping to, can you please make Indy 5 and no refrigerators this time? Katee is here, and we're going to be talking about a bunch of things with Katee as far as what she's been up to, what's been going on, and then we're all going to be talking about our favorite current actors right now. There's so many up-and-coming actors.
Current actors,
There's so many up-and-coming actors right now that are like, kicking ass. Most of them are from the UK, but
I was going to say, most of them aren't from here.
Who's your favorite British actor who can do an American accent?
Exactly.
That's the category.
Yeah, so, here's a funny thing first about Katee. Katee was actually, for those new listeners on the Schmoes Know podcast, Katee was our first guest ever. when we were using like tin cans and we had cheese. Yeah, really? You don't remember anything?
All this stuff blends together for me. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't have great technology, so I think Katie's pretty impressed that we're not using like a Texas Instruments thing that ET built to phone home anymore. Now we have a real live studio.
Can you believe it? That this is all professional.
I walked in, I was like, Jesus, this is pretty impressive.
Well, thank you. And
I mean, you're not paying for my valet parking, but we're not
not.
there yet. We're not there yet. It's
no,
totally
not
fine.
yet. Not
You
yet.
can eat that $7.
That's right. Well, the thing, and then she actually came back, and on last year she had one of the best pranks of all time when we pranked Jeremy Johns.
That was so much fun.
He still, to this day, you guys are the only ones that got me. You're the only ones that have ever gotten me. And he gives us credit for it. But the real question is, you haven't been back since. What is this bullshit? Why so long?
What is this bullshit?
Why so long? Why you left us waiting?
I'm sorry. Some of us don't get to work out of the comfort of our own city.
That's right.
This is true. No, and I totally kid because Katie has been very busy as of late. And
we apologize, Katie. Usually we don't torture our guests until the second half of the podcast.
But it's me. It's totally fine.
Exactly.
Like the torture starts from the very beginning.
Yeah.
But we have missed you, so what have you been up to?
Let's talk about
pause.
long
I
playing
have
off
to take
long.
my bracelets off. They're making way too much noise. It's going to drive me nuts.
That's a lot of bracelets.
Yeah.
Look at all of the jewelry.
It is.
How many bracelets do you usually wear on your left arm?
This is actually a light day.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was cool in the 80s. Like remember when people wore like 9 watches? They had like different
It's
colored
true.
swatches on their arms.
Oh my god. So here's the thing.
What's that?
I think that if you were young enough to not appreciate a decade, you can do it again.
Yeah.
So in the 80s, I was no older than 9.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, if I wear neon and like tutus and like, tube socks.
Yeah, some leg warmers in there.
All of that. And bracelets up my arms that are made out of rubber. I'm fine. It's totally fine because I was a child.
Look at all of the jewelry. I feel like I'm in
can't see
Watto's
it.
junkyard.
I'm blocked up. But one of the reasons that Katie has not been around too, she's on a hit TV show. She's on the show Longmire.
I grew up. This is my Longmire beard that I grew out.
You would be killed out there by wolves quick.
Solidarity.
Yeah. That's right. It took me 3 months to grow this thing. This is my old West beard.
All the guys on the show are always like, oh, because it itches so much.
That's right. Well, Scruffy, how has it been so far? I mean, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's huge. It's I don't know. It's crazy. It's a completely. I think it's a fan base that that I kind of brought with me, and then a completely different new fan base, which is really fun. I take my dog to physical therapy. Yes, I do. And
as you should.
As you should.
Yeah.
I mean, and whilst there with Meatball.
Whilst.
How old's Meatball?
He's between 14 and 19, and so I'm going to just go in the middle and say he's 16.
Oh, he's one of those
Did you adopt him?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
He's like one of these things that you find raised in the jungle and nobody knows exactly how old it is.
Or what it is. You just bring it home and it's like a cougar.
Yeah. We don't know what animal it's going to grow into.
Yeah, we've had a few of those on the show too. So
you don't even know. So it's very interesting. Like I have people older than my parents. Like we love the show. This is so amazing. And what's great about them?
I hadn't felt anything in my groin area in 30 years.
I think you get to a certain point where everyone seems like they're a teenager, and so these people come up to me and they think that I'm 12.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And that I've just started. And it's fantastic because all of a sudden I've just added 15 years to my career because they think I'm 20.
Brand new fan base too.
So it's amazing. I love it. Plus the old fan base is still there, and then younger kids too, because I think that this show is a bit more family friendly than Battlestar or 24.
Right.
Okay, so Longmire, and it's on A&E, correct?
Yeah.
What's the premise of the show? When does it take place?
You're asking me so many questions, and I'm a little hungover.
Nice.
That's fine.
Well, what I like about that.
You think I'm not hungover?
Well, what I like about
I'm like rubbing my head, hoping no one notices.
Was it tough for you to get up this morning?
Yeah, a little bit.
No.
Well, I felt the earthquake last night.
I did not.
There was an earthquake.
There was an earthquake,
No idea.
and it is the first earthquake I have felt since I've lived in California. I
Really?
sleep through them all.
That's incredible. So you're out drinking, and then somehow.
Well, no, at that point I was already in bed because I was like, I should go to bed and be responsible because I have to wake up early. So I went to bed at 11:15, and I'm laying there, and I think it was probably about between 15 minutes and an hour. I was in that golden stage, where you're just going out, and the room was shaking, and I was like, wow, I drink a lot.
Where'd you go?
And then I realized realized, just my living room.
No,
It's a little bar I like to call.
One of the hotter
Poppin'.
nightclubs
Yeah, it's
you'll
poppin'.
find in the Southern California
Girls
area.
are nude a lot. It's really interesting.
And yet another thing we were not invited to.
You have
dude,
babies and shit. We
I
can't
know,
really.
I know.
we don't have enough left arm bracelets to get into that club. You got to
No.
flash some jewelry.
No.
That's true.
Well, in that nightclub, you have to wear the colored ones like the kids do to be like, I give blowjobs. I like to take it in the, like you have to.
Yeah, Schmoeville's open for this, so keep going.
You have
Yeah, I
to
know.
color them out. you
After
know?
that conversation, it would have been good to have her on the Sex and the Movies podcast as well. You missed the whole Sex and the Movies podcast that we did.
Did you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're out at night going to high school raves apparently with
It's
your
awesome.
neon.
Yeah.
But so Longmire is like, is it, because I see like in Old West, you're wearing like a sheriff's costume.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that taking place in modern times in like a ghost town, or is that back some years?
Some would call Wyoming a ghost town.
I've driven through there. There's not a lot to look at.
It's modern day, and it's about a sheriff from Absaroka County. It's like a fictional county, but I guess it's an actual place. I have no idea.
Absolutely, it doesn't sound like they have a Chili's there. It doesn't sound like there's an
I
AM
don't
PM.
think so. No,
Yeah.
their chili's probably better though.
What I love about
You're
it,
right.
is,
You're right.
But I've seen the pilot. I've seen a few episodes actually, and you guys don't even shoot in Wyoming, do you?
No, we shoot in Santa Fe.
But it's funny though too because
Beautiful.
my father-in-law can guess it right off the bat. He goes, "That's not Wyoming." I'm like, but for me, I don't know. It looks like it to
Yeah,
me.
for
So.
me, I mean, people who know it's not Wyoming get upset because they're like, it's big open skies, and for me, from LA, I'm like, wow, I see mountains,
Right.
and blue sky.
And
There's
is
no
that just cost
smog.
effective? Is that's why most likely?
Yeah, I mean, Wyoming, I think, is a right to work state, and they don't have the unions. So I think that does that make sense? I don't even know. I'm talking out of my ass here.
That's
but
all right.
they don't
We
have
do-
the
we do it
tax
every week.
incentives. So,
Yeah.
and there's not many states that do. So you're kind of limited. It's not like you can go to Louisiana and shoot, big open sky. So
But
Santa
you're having
Fe.
fun though.
I am. It's short. It's exactly what I was looking for. You know, like I kind of got sidetracked during pilot season by a couple network shows that were really great. But at the end of the day, what I realized I wanted after the 2 pilots I did that didn't get picked up was I don't want to be the lead of a network show. Like it's way too much work.
Too much work, right?
Is it really?
And you want to
It's-
do
oh my
movies
God.
too.
Yeah, I want to do film, and if there's anything I hate more than not working, it's working.
Right.
So it's I mean, I really do. So it's a good 3 months. You give it your all, and then you disappear for 9
Yeah,
months.
and you know you're coming back.
You know you're coming
Right.
back, right? Well,
That's gr-
thank
what-
God we know we're coming back.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Kinda
So, I
nice.
mean, sometimes you're like, panicking, but as
Yeah.
far as the show is doing really well, so, again, congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
we're glad to have you back. And she's going to be back. We're going to be talking about today is going to be all about actors in movies. We want you guys to call in. Already the phone lines are
they blowing
they're
up?
blowing up already. So we are going to be taking questions. Tweet us. Let us know which actors you guys want us to talk about because there's so many up-and-coming actors right now.
Yeah, there's so many actors in movies.
Well, yeah, but there's so many-
a lot of movies, but there's a lot of people in those films.
Right. Well, the thing is, though, and we've had this conversation before, is that, and Katie, you can tell me if you agree or disagree with this being on that side, is that I think in the 90s, and even before that, was like, it was still, the movie star was the one who sold the tickets. It's like Tom Cruise. You knew a Tom Cruise movie was coming out. Didn't matter what the hell it was.
Yeah.
You're going to see it because Tom Cruise is in it. That's not the case anymore. Like, the trailer really has to sell the story. The director is more of the star. If, like, look at Christopher Nolan, something like that. So, but you do have to have these fantastic actors. And I think, like, there are so many coming out of the woodwork, primarily also because of, great directors who are, giving them chances. Look at Hans Zimmer. Look at
Zimmer.
Yeah, look at Hans Zimmer. Look at Christopher Nolan, what he's done for Joseph Gordon-Levitt and for, again, Tom Hardy. So, I don't know if you guys disagree or agree with that.
I agree in the sense that the director's more the star, but you still need a movie star to sell a movie. It's not like,
course.
you have a few great directors, but nobody's lining up to see, who's this director?
It
Who's
helps.
that?
Right.
It helps.
It
yeah.
helps.
I think it all helps. I think that it's less the movie star now and more just a name that sells it. And
Right.
the name could be, as long as it's a household name. It doesn't even need to be a big household name, but as long as if people know who it is, that helps finance the movie. Which at the end of
Absolutely.
the day is the biggest obstacle right now is just getting movies financed. And sadly enough, it usually depends on the male. So it's they cast that male name first, and then they kind of sprinkle in unknowns and maybe a female name somewhere in
Yeah.
there.
Well, it's,
We need to get a male in there,
That's
and then we'll
true.
sprinkle in some dames.
Sprinkle in some girls,
Some
and then,
leggy Janes.
It'll be amazing.
all right, let's take a phone call real quick from, hey, Noah, what do you got, man? Nothing? Perfect.
Hello?
Hey, Noah, what's going on, man? What do you got?
Well, based on actors today, one that I think is very good is Andrew Garfield. I loved him ever since I saw him in The Social Network, and in Spider-Man he was great. And I truly think that he's going to be one of the better actors working today when you see more of him. I just want to know your thoughts on him as an actor in general.
Thanks a lot, Noah. I like Andrew Garfield.
I do too.
Yeah.
You know, I really do. I mean, I think I haven't seen
Spidey?
I haven't seen it. I thought it was a little too soon. You know, I gotta tell you, like I haven't.
You were walking into a war zone with that comment.
I didn't. I mean, I'm still getting over the last one.
Well, that's pretty hard to get over. I mean, it was disaster.
It was
man.
really bad.
Emo Spider-Man 3.
It was really bad.
But that was the thing. I mean, again, not going over our whole argument on Spider-Man again, but it's just the fact that, like, I think if something is peed on that badly, that if you're going to reboot it and change the tone, because the tone has just changed, and I think one of the main reasons that Andrew Garfield was cast in that film was because he's such a great dramatic actor as well,
right.
And he's one of these guys. Like, one of my favorite things in watching performances is that when you can watch the eyes and they don't have to say anything. Like, one of my favorite scenes of all time was in Braveheart, was Mel Gibson when he's betrayed by Robert the Bruce.
Yeah,
and
starts to get those crazy Mel eyes, but not over.
But it's
the
not even
top.
crazy. It's not even crazy. He's got these tears that swell up in his eyes.
Yeah.
And he doesn't say a word, and you know everything that he is thinking and talking, and whether or not it's he's going to go run and beat the piss out of someone 5 minutes after they call cut is one thing, but you could tell when you look in his eyes, and Marion Cotillard does that, and a lot of people do that. And I think Andrew Garfield did that brilliantly in Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, the rule we kind of established on this show is that however bad the previous movie was, that's how quickly you can reboot the franchise.
Can you reboot the franchise with the exact same people and just do it again? Could you imagine?
I think you're allowed to take a mulligan.
Why not?
Mulligan.
Yeah.
We're just going to try again.
Yeah, that's
all
right. We're going to get rid of Sam Raimi. Someone else try this. Okay, can we do that upside down thing again? Does that work?
If you bring your previous Spider-Man 3 ticket stub to the theater opening weekend, you can see Spider-Man 3 for real this time.
Exactly.
Right.
In 3D.
Katie, he brings up an interesting point because you're watching a movie. I'm just a schmo/schmuck watching a movie, right? And I see somebody crying on screen. Like, what percentage of the time is that real tears? Can they actually think about some pet that they have, like the time their neighbor accidentally ran over their cat? Or is it all like, hey, we just put some water in their eyes before the scene?
You're making me give away my secret.
What's your process? Tell everyone so they can steal it.
It's like we got David Copperfield on here. How do you make the Statue of Liberty disappear?
Here's the deal. Like, I've met a few actresses that can really cry on cue. But you think they can, and like you kind of idolize them for being able to do it because it's a very difficult thing, and then you see them, like out of the corner of your eye behind a wall getting the menthol blown in their eye, and you're like, you cheat too, you stupid bitch.
That's how they do it.
Basically what it is that if you cry over and over and over and over again for an entire scene, and you're doing multiple takes and different directions and blah blah blah, you start to dry out.
Right.
And even though the emotion and the facial expression is still there, your eyes are like, there's nothing coming out anymore, and you're like, ugh. So occasionally you need the little blower, so you're still crying,
right?
But they're not like putting tears in your eyes. They kind of irritate it with a little. It's like a menthol blow, and then you go for it.
Another reason to not smoke, kids. I sweat on cue, so I can do that.
Yeah,
if anybody's listening.
Don't I know it? So they
that's a prerequisite. Like they ask a lot in film.
You need an extra in a gym scene?
Can you sweat a lot?
I'm the guy.
Kidding? Oh yeah. Well, if you look, the funny thing too with Andrew Garfield was in regard to the crying. When you're working with somebody like Martin Sheen, and then again, spoiler alert, that you don't know this Spider-Man lore. When Uncle Ben goes out,
earmuffs, Sackhoff. We're talking spoilers.
We're talking spoilers, but but that's the thing though, is when you see him the way he wells up, you can see where you could get emotionally invested in that scene. When you're, it's like again with a good actor, someone like Garfield, and I think what he does so well is that, in general, both in Social Network and in Amazing Spider-Man,
besides the accent.
Well, yeah, he's able to get rid of that thing quick.
Yeah,
and so he just has this natural, like, this likability about him. And I think that is a main thing. Obviously, about an actor, you can be as talented as you want, but if the audience doesn't like you, you're out.
Though, I'm curious to see if he can transcend into, he's not really that actor that would go do an action movie. Really, I mean, I know that Spider-Man is an action movie, but it's more of
special effects action movie?
Special effects, and it's kind of this fluid, fighting style. It's more. For lack of a better word, people are going to kill me. There's a lot of femininity in the not to him, but
he's
in
wearing
the
a lot of spandex,
right? I'm talking about like go and do like an action movie,
right?
Where you don't have to play a nerd, like he's playing a high school nerd,
right? Like the Expendables, if you will. I don't know that if put into that kind of context of a film, that male audiences would go to see Andrew Garfield. I think that's a very different thing, and I don't know if that's something that he has. So I'm curious to see if he can become a movie star star.
Well, he's also a
male.
$130 soaking wet.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
so,
right.
Why
but
don't you quit the voice lessons for a week? Kid?
Yeah.
Get in the gym, get some protein shakes in.
right.
You.
And he might be able to. I mean, he's still young, too. But I want
Right.
to take another phone call, but I also want to transition into that action actors as well.
Okay, I can do that one.
All right.
Me
You,
too.
you are on the Schmoes podcast. Who do we got?
This is Garth.
Hey, man, what's up?
Am I on the podcast now?
You are on the podcast, my friend.
Okay, well, I have 2 questions, comments.
Sure.
One's for Katie. Thanks for introducing me to Longmire.
Oh, you're welcome.
You seem to have a lot of guest stars and side people. Was that a blessing or a curse?
You mean as far as Longmire, like the guest stars that come in?
Yeah. I mean, how is it to work with some of these people that have, are icons in the business?
Thank
Right.
you.
Well, yeah, it's a great question. It's interesting when you do something like Longmire compared to like Battlestar Galactica. Battlestar Galactica was focused on the main characters all the time because it was a serialized drama. But in a something that's more procedural, you have different stories every week, and therefore you bring in these guest stars. And Longmire has been lucky enough to get some of the most brilliant actors that come in to do these roles, and their storylines are amazing, and so it's fun to get to work with different actors every week, you know,
Right.
and some of them like I absolutely love that come in and you're like, oh my God, I love The Killing. Like, thank you so much for showing up.
Right.
This is fantastic.
Yeah,
like, I'm so
yeah.
happy you're on our show right now. So it's I love it. I think it's great. And I think that Longmire has a nice balance of a little bit of serialized content and then the procedural. So you can pick up new audience along the way and they're not lost, but it still gives the core audience that watches every single week something to bring back the next week.
Yeah, and you know what? Thank God a show like that exists. Because look, I love Lost and I love
Yeah.
stuff like that, but it's nice to turn on a show where you don't have to have seen the previous 3 seasons.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's true.
I think that's probably why the older demographic likes it too. Because they just
Probably.
want to sit down and not remember what happened last.
They fall asleep halfway through anyway.
I took my Wednesday pills. I'm going to watch my stories and I'm going to go to sleep.
All right, we're here with Katee Sackhoff. We're talking Longmire. We're talking about actors in film. We're going to take one more phone call, and then I want to hit on that action movie thing. But all right, you are in Schmoeville. Who do we got? Hello. Nobody. All right.
Oh, he's breaking up. He's in a bad neighborhood.
Hello?
Hello. Hey,
There
man.
we
What's
go.
up?
Okay. It's really off on the stream, that's why. Sorry.
It's okay. Well,
Okay, so I think one actor that's really, hasn't got, roles that really show how good he is Guy Pearce.
Oh yeah, 100%.
yeah, for sure. Okay, that's a good point as well. And he's been in a ton. Thanks, man. Guy Pearce actually has a good transition into the action movie too, because he was just in that shitbox movie. What the hell was that? Lockout.
Lockout,
Oh,
yeah.
God, he was fun in it. He was really fun in it. But this movie, action film, and I know that it was supposed to be like this cheesy B film, but it was just impossible to watch.
Yeah.
And taking a shot at an actress who is not good is what's her name? Shannon Hatch or whatever. Maggie Grace.
Shannon Hatch is my
Oh,
good friend who's a very
speaking of
funny
Lost.
comedian.
So,
Yeah.
someone else.
Maggie Grace.
Maggie Grace. And that.
Yeah.
And but
So
anyway.
Lockout was so bad on our scale, the reboot could come out next week. That's how soon you
it
could
should.
remake that movie.
But we'll get to Guy Pearce in a second though too. But because we have to go to break in like 5 minutes. But I wanted to a point that Katie had made before, as far as like Andrew Garfield with the action movie, and it's tough to kind of pull it off. Someone who I think has gradually now getting his shot in the action movies is Jeremy Renner.
yeah.
Yeah. And Jeremy's not a big guy either. Like he's not.
Have you worked with him?
No, but I've seen him.
Right.
He's not.
How tall are we talking? Because all these guys in
5'8",
real life,
5'9".
they're all like 4'11", dude. They're all
Yeah.
travel
Yeah,
size.
right.
You can
Yeah.
put them in your overhead compartment.
Easier to film.
The thing is that with this action thing, and we talk about it a lot, and I think somebody who does this very, very well is Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
Like I think that women love him, but men do too.
Right.
And that is that fine line that male actors have to walk, because you have to be able to do these emotional roles, but then if you throw someone like, what's the kid from Twilight?
like
Robert
a Bob
Pattinson?
Pattinson,
Not
a Taylor
Pat-
Lautner.
Taylor
Lautner.
Lautner.
Yeah.
Men don't appreciate
No.
him. Like, you can't put him in an
Right.
action movie and base an entire action movie
Yes.
off this kid, because
Josh Hartnett, too.
Men don't go, oh, I'm kind of intimidated by him.
Right.
Because they're not. And
Right.
so men want to go see action movies where the guy is someone that they could go, all right, I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow.
Right.
You know, like,
Yeah.
And it's also that cool thing, and what happened, like Brad Pitt, when he first came out with, Thelma and Louise, and guys were like, who's this pretty guy? Screw this guy. And then he did stuff like True Romance, and then he was in Legends of the Fall.
12 Monkeys.
But Legends of the Fall was one where guys got dragged to.
Yeah.
And they're just like, okay, come on, here's another thing with this Brad Pitt character, and he's scalping dudes and killing people left and right, and you're like, all right, I like this guy.
And he's a cool dude. That's the whole thing and I think that's what a good male, that's what makes a male movie star. That's the difference between just a male actor that's a household name and a movie star, is that you can believe that this person's actually doing this stuff.
Yeah, and you can root for them, and they have something like a factor where you do kind of want to hang out with them, and say, I don't think Shia LaBeouf's a bad actor, but I see him on screen, I'm like, I don't want to hang with that dude.
Right.
Well, his interviews too, though, because that's the thing too, is that your public.
Is he a prick? He's always injured. He's always got some sort of injury that he's working with.
His schmucky interviews that he gives.
He gets beat up at work.
Yeah, that was awesome. Did you see that footage?
No, but he's always got like a black eye, or he looks like
because he talks shit to people at the bar and they beat the piss out of him. Like, you don't know Transformers, dude. I'll kill you.
Right.
You can't just yell Optimus at McGillicuddy's at midnight on Thursday
and have people go, "Wow, we respect this guy."
I just primed you, bitch.
I primed you. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
I would like to see that actually.
I'm going to take one last call before we go to break here. All right, you're on the Schmoes podcast. Who we got?
RJ.
Hey, RJ, what's up, man?
What's up?
Hey, dude, what do you got?
I was wondering about Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, that's a great one. Thank you, RJ. What's great about Robert Downey Jr. is that he was a great actor for so many years, like one of the best, and then obviously you counted him out.
Right.
Yeah, and then
he's kind of like a new actor again.
He is,
because everybody
for sure.
kind of wrote him off, and then he's back, and he comes back. The big comeback was with Iron Man, so now it's almost like you're seeing this dude that you forgot about.
Right. Well, also
the rebirth.
Think about, and don't talk comedies and stuff like that. Think about any big budget, huge movies he was in before Iron Man. You can't do it.
No.
Air America.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And now he's in everything. Sherlock Holmes and Robert and Iron Man rebooted his career. But
he can do action, he can do comedy, he can do it all, just like the Schmoes on our podcast. We are talking actors and movies. We have a very special guest from Longmire on A&E, Katee Sackhoff. And we're going to be right back, Christian.
Yep. Hold those phones and tweet on in.
We are back on the Schmoes Know Movies podcast. That is Christian Harloff. I am Mark Ellison. This weekend, kids, I'm in the La Jolla Comedy Store Friday and Saturday. It's in San Diego. Be over 18 or have a great fake ID and you can get into the show.
Love that. Look at that. I like the way you're plugging stuff.
That.
We've had some memories down there, Christian.
Yes, and we also have memories on this podcast with one of our, we like that transition.
That was a nice transition. I was going to transition to SeaWorld. I didn't know where.
Perfect.
I was thinking San Diego.
Perfect. Well, we are here now with one of our best friends
our own Shamu. Well, the sexiest Shamu you could possibly have.
Did you just call me a fat whale?
Called it Shamu?
You just called me a fat whale.
Eat your feet.
Listen,
eat your feet.
I haven't eaten for 2 months.
Well, we are going to be talking. We are joined by Katee Sackhoff. You guys are just joining us. Make sure you call in 888-520-4374.
Our star attraction is what I meant. Is she's the reason why people come to pay the ticket.
But one of the things we have to...
Do they throw fish at me,
and here's a fish. Here's a fish.
I don't think that we've given Katee enough props on the show because Katee has been a fan of this show or been helping us out since we had 800 subscribers, and she did an interview with us.
800 people, 400 of which were family members.
Yes, and we have got a lot of Katee Sackhoff fans over the years in Schmoeville, and we would like to thank you for that because it's always nice to have you on the show.
I thank Christian for this.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Because
was that the move?
Do you remember he had a comedy show years ago, or a skit? I don't even know what to call it. A bit?
Whatever.
Okay, whatever. It's a bit.
It's cute.
F yourself. Where he was
How do you come up with your comedy skits?
How do you come up with that skit?
Yeah, how do you do that stuff? What do you draw from?
Hang on, Longmire's on. That's my favorite story. Yeah, he does the...
and he calls his hands mitts.
That's right.
You call your hands mitts? Well, that's like a boxing term, right?
A good buddy of mine remembers my bits really well.
Remembers your bits.
Yeah.
I remember
it's been so long since you were out of the game.
No more, Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah, the one that you helped me with. All right.
Punch that one up.
Okay. All right, we're taking phone calls. We're doing tweets. We're talking actors in film. And one of the actors that, right now, one of my favorites is Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
I'm talking about little guys. I mean, that guy, he's a little guy, but he's got such a large presence on screen. You know, you don't care about him.
He still looks like you could beat the shit out of anyone.
He could.
You know? Like, I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, I don't care if he's 5'8" or 5'9" or whatever he is, but...
Lucky, maybe, on heels.
I gotta tell you, though, like, I mean, I don't know many guys that would be like, I could take him.
Now, after seeing Warrior and Dark Knight, no one's going to try that. And that goes to your point, too, because, again, women find him really sexy, but dudes are like... that guy is the guy that I want to watch fight. I want to be a villain, a hero.
Right.
He's done everything right. His career, like unlike someone like Sam Worthington, who was thrown into the spotlight and didn't earn anything, Tom Hardy is earning it. I mean, obviously Bronson. If you haven't seen Bronson, which is Nicholas Winding Refn's one of his first movies, where he played Bronson, the criminal, and he crushes that role. He's so good in it. But then you have roles like Rock and Rolla, and then Warrior, and then even that shitbox thing with Reese Witherspoon.
And he was so good in that movie. By the way, like literally, I have to tell you, like I saw that movie, and I wanted to like have sex with him on a counter.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Like, I
you
really
and me
did.
both, sister.
Right?
I think that when you saw him in Inception, that was when he came on my radar, and that's what we're talking about. Is that it's not like this guy got thrown into the lead of an action film by a studio. It was like Christopher Nolan, and he's got a great stable.
Right.
And part of that is you're really lucky to have a guy like Christopher Nolan, who's able to control everything.
Right.
It's like getting under like a great head coach, and he knows the exact system you need. But he's just got this hulking boulder-like igneous presence on stage.
I mean, he looks like a fighter. Like he looks like an Irish fighter.
Well, he's one of those guys
like a drunk soccer hooligan,
like a drunk hooligan,
with really great lips. I'm a dude.
He's kind of amazing.
That guy's got fantastic. I hope he never gets herpes because you don't want a cold sort of ruin those great lips that he's got.
You want us to leave the room? You want us to pull up some footage on Tom Hardy?
Now,
one of the things
I just blacked out for a second.
I know. One of the things also, and you and I have had this conversation that you can call somebody out when you see them throwing punches that are bullshit.
Yeah.
And they're not doing it right. And with that guy, you can tell that he was training, he was watching MMA for that movie Warrior. If you guys have not seen Warrior, make sure that you rent that thing immediately. It's one of the best, most underrated movies of last year for sure. And Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton, by the way.
Yeah.
Another actor who is in the movie coming out now, that Timothy Green movie. And he is another
He's throwing
guy.
a lot of punches in that one because if Timothy Green gets out of line...
What's amazing about that guy is that he can go and play like a school teacher or like a father of like an 8-year-old, and like your heart breaks because he's such a good actor. And then he goes and he does like Warrior, and you're like,
and you buy it.
I don't know if I would get in a cage with him.
And he did both
That's in the
that
same movie.
He did
He's
both.
a school teacher, and you like him as a school teacher.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
His performance was breathtaking in that movie.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And because the funny thing with him is what he did. In that, some people didn't really know who he was in that because he'd done that movie Animal Kingdom, and he was also Uncle Owen in the prequels.
Oh, that's right.
But nobody remembered him really.
Well,
and
he just hung out for one scene.
Well, that's my point. And the thing is, too, so when that movie starts in Warrior, you know Tom Hardy from Inception, a couple of things. So you're rooting for him.
Yeah.
By the end of that movie, hardly anyone is rooting for him. You're rooting for Joel Edgerton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I was rooting for Nolte. I wanted him to get in the cage. I think he could have taken both of them on.
All right, so we're gonna take a call. Georgie, what's up, man? What do you got? Georgie, you there?
Guys.
Hey, man, what do you got?
Hey, it's George.
I know. What's going on, dude?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I wanted to talk about Viggo Mortensen. He's not up and coming, but I think he's phenomenal. Anyone who's seen Eastern Promises, he talks for 70 minutes for 70% of the movie in Russian. It's just a phenomenal performance, and he's great.
Thank you, George.
Yeah, Viggo's one of those actors, and this is the same qualities that we were talking about with these actors, that men want to be him and women want to fuck him.
Right.
I mean, and that's what makes these action guys, these really great guys that can carry these big films. And
and he can go into different places too. That's the thing, is because there's some people who just do the action movies, and you can't get past it. You know, like Statham. That's fine. That's his thing. Statham, but you can see he's got some range, but he's not.
Statham's got some
He's
range.
got some range, but he doesn't have Viggo's range.
I don't know if I'd put money on him though.
Not against Viggo, but like when you watch if you're just talking about straight up action dudes, like a Stallone or Van Damme or Seagal, he can do more than.
Do you know Viggo was supposed to play? They wanted Viggo to play the Huntsman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
But instead, they got another up and coming actor.
See, that's a much better transition than what you did at the beginning of the second break.
Call action to it. So there was we're talking about Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
There's a guy that, when they announced him as Thor, some people are like, oh, okay. That guy is a movie star.
I got to tell you, I saw that. Oh my God, I was at.
He is not small.
No, I was at a birthday party for a friend of mine, and he was there with his wife and the baby was like smaller than his bicep, and I was with my mom, and I mean, I was just
fluttered like you are now.
I was literally, my mouth was watering.
Yeah, see, I mean,
really?
Oh my God!
Looking at a juicy steak.
Oh my God! I've never seen anything like it. Like, he's so amazing and gorgeous and big.
But
he's a
Oh my-
huge
he's
The big dude.
dude. I was at one of my late night haunts last night, flipping through Cosmo in the
Right.
back, as I'm wont to do. And you know when you see pictures of people in real life at the beach, you're like, oh, that's what they look like?
Right.
Jesus. And then I flip the page, and then this Leviathan is emerging from
the
the
water.
waters of Hawaii.
That's right.
And it's Hemsworth, and the dude, not only is he a huge dude, but to pull off a role like Thor,
Yeah, he
that
got
took a
chops.
lot of chops.
And he was great in The Huntsman. He was the best part of that movie.
Yeah.
He also was in
Well,
that.
no, Kristen Stewart's pregame speech before the last battle.
What, the one like, I'm gonna bang this guy, this, this woman's husband, and you must watch.
Oh my God, that poor thing.
Yes, it's a poor thing. Come on.
I mean
all
that
right,
in
we-
such a.
All right, we are here with Mark Ellis and the horny Katee Sackhoff, and we are taking tweets. I actually have one tweet here from our buddy Ken Knapsack, who's in the green room. Upcoming actor to watch: Fat Ellis and Grasping at Straws. It was a web series that we did, and Ellis was about 75 pounds overweight.
I like my Taco Bell.
That is true. All right, we're taking phone calls from Schmoeville. Okay, you are on. Who do we got?
Hi.
Hey, man. What's up?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Jesse Eisenberg. I think he's a great actor.
Yeah, thank you, dude. You know, the thing with Jesse Eisenberg.
I love all of our calls, by the way. You can tell that we do the show in the morning because everybody we
Yeah.
answer the phone's like, hello, and they're like, oh, hey.
Wasn't expecting that to happen. Yeah.
5 more minutes.
888-520-4374. We're talking to Katee and Mark and myself. Jesse Eisenberg, the thing with him is, I think when he first came out, they were doing he's like the better acting version of Michael Cera, but now the thing is, his characters tend to be the same in every movie now for me.
Right.
Anyway, I think he's a good actor, but he just, I don't see a lot of that range that we were just talking about.
Yeah, you can put that kind of actor in a lot of different stuff,
Sure.
and it works because
Sure.
he can be in something
He'll
serious like
work.
a Social Network. Then he can also be in like
Right.
a Zombie Land.
Right, but when you're talking about a guy like, Fassbender and Tom Hardy and dudes like that, you put Eisenberg, you don't really see him going to a place that those dudes can go to.
It's a different body style too. You know, I mean, the good thing about
He's more on Garfield's side.
You're right. A good thing about film and is that there's so many different types of film. And I know that we've kind of just gone on the whole action and side of things, but there's a place for all these guys in these movies, and he's great, but physically he looks like he's still 22. I mean, he might be 22.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, that's the one thing that these other guys have is there's just a manliness to them
Yeah.
that Eisenberg just doesn't have yet. But, eventually he's a good enough actor that we'll see him until he does.
Yeah, I just want to see where he
but
can go.
Is part of that range just the fact that, let's face it, he's not really a good-looking dude?
I don't think he's not good looking.
He's there,
I mean, I'm
but he's
older
there.
than him, and he looks like I might go to jail for it.
But wait, I'm sure there's some dudes out there like that are younger that are super attractive, though. That's not the same thing, but you have to start thinking that way because he's not that attractive.
Dude, you got to be careful around Sackhoff because she thinks about Chris Hemsworth. The next dude she sees, she's like, it's good enough. I'll take it. I need something.
Right? Some guy walking down the city walk on the way back to my
That's
car.
right.
I'm like, where are you from? Ohio? Perfect. Let's do this.
I just got a type of that chick in Walmart.
Some dad with 4 kids running around just eating a churro, crying because he's
Yeah.
wondering where his life went. Hey, you're the girl from Longmire.
Yeah.
Okay, we have, all right, so our buddy Adam Ray just tweeted in. Adam Ray's awesome. He writes, and you guys are so great. He's doing a movie with Sandra Bullock right now, and he's trying to get Sandra Bullock to listen, and he's enjoying a smoothie. So, hey, listen, if you can do that, Adam, you got to get your ass on the show soon, dude. So, welcome back whenever you're
Well,
back.
talking about one of my favorite actors, you got to throw
Adam
it
Ray?
to Adam Ray.
Yeah, he's-
Nobody works with a Muppet better.
No one
than
does a
Adam
better
Ray.
Tony Danza. All right, now Josh has a great question, something that I want to be excited about here, and Katee, you're going to like this one too. Hey, Josh, what's up? You're in Schmoeville. What do you got?
What's going on, guys?
Hey,
Big
dude.
fan of the show.
Thank
Katie,
you.
Love you.
Thank you.
Let me just straight out say we need a new Schwarzenegger. We need a new Stallone. All these guys have been mentioned is great, but I need someone to fill the shoes of the action hero, and I just don't see it coming.
Thank you, dude. And it's tough.
It's tough, but
Hemsworth is the closest one, I think, right now.
Hemsworth and Hardy,
Yeah.
I do believe that those guys are coming up, and there's another one in there, and I can't remember who it is right now. But there's a couple guys that you see, and you're like, they could take this.
But I think what Josh means though too is like the guy who kind of runs the genre too, because you have again guys that you just mentioned, Hemsworth. They're not going to just be doing that because they're so good. Like you had Statham, but he's done so many of the B type movies that they're fun, but they're not like the great like movies like when Arnold did Total Recall, you didn't care. So see you at the party, Richter. You wanted to see all that stuff.
No idea what he's saying,
Who
but
cares?
you're like, it's fine. It's totally
It's
fine.
Arnold.
Well, Statham's kind of a tweener though too, because he's not like as old as the other Expendables guys, but he's not like a young up-and-comer. What the difference between Hemsworth and Hardy is between like guys like a Van Damme or a Schwarzenegger is that Van Damme, Schwarzenegger, Seagal, these guys all came from either a fighting or a weightlifting background, and they made the transition into acting. That was kind of a second career for them. Whereas like Hemsworth, he's a trained actor. Tom Hardy's a trained actor, and they learned how to fight.
Right.
So who's going to be the guy that does like what Gina Carano's trying to do, who was great and a legit MMA person, and then they come over and then they learn how to act.
I'll tell you what. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, I love Gina. My agency actually represents her, and
I love her too.
And
He's
they
obsessed.
were just saying the other day, would you do a movie with Gina? And I said in a heartbeat, because like Gina and I are it's a perfect example of of an actor who came in as an actor but has been trained to fight, and then a fighter who's come in and is now learning how to act. And so it's kind of like you meet each other in the middle. If it was an action movie, you'd meet each other in the middle, and it could be a really interesting movie.
I just want to make sure they use her voice this time, because she's got a sexy voice, and they're doing the voiceover thing. You don't need it.
All right, Christian, you know MMA pretty well. How long does Sackhoff last in the ring against Gina Carano now?
I know Katie's tough.
15 seconds
maybe.
if I can run away from her and climb the cage.
It's a tiny cage, man.
No, there's the thing is that she's got one up on me. She's got the balls to go into a movie and head it up and lead it and with no fear and just be like, I'll do this.
Yeah.
You know.
And when she was kicking people in the face though in that movie,
my goodness,
it was like watching like Van Damme back in the day, because people were too caught up in her acting. It's like, no, she's a first role. She's not going to be great in it. You know, Soderbergh did what he did. That's why I thought it was.
You go back and watch Hard Target. It ain't an Oscar-winning movie,
but that's why I thought it was such a
cool.
disservice to her to not use her voice. It's like, yeah, she wasn't great, but who cares? It's like this is her first thing. We're going to see her because she's hot. We're going to see her because she can kick the shit out of people. Let me get through that, and I'll get over her voice.
Who did her voice? Do you think it was one of those like phone sex operators that's like 300 pounds?
I hate that they try to say, oh, it was distorted. No, it wasn't.
You know what I think they need to do with her is they need to give Gina a movie where she's a bit more lighthearted. You know, I think that the problem was that the movie was so dark and so, just in tone, and I think that if she had something like where she was surrounded by other women, like an Expendables with women.
Yeah.
Like, I think that you would see a more fun side of her, and I think that she would come across a lot better.
Well, I would love to see a female Expendable. Kathleen Turner's back. Just like,
she's the villain, dude. Get over here. Yeah, so that would be fun too. All right, we're taking phone calls. We're having tweets from Schmoeville. We're here with Katee Sackhoff. What do you got?
I got a transition for you. Speaking of Gina Carano in Haywire, one dude that started to impress me from that movie and has just knocked it out of the park ever since, in my opinion, is Channing Tatum. He had a small role in that.
Great transition.
Maybe an even better one than you had before.
Now, look, we wrecked him on the show for a long time.
I was very upset at his portrayal of Duke in G.I. Joe, but the whole movie sucked. You can't.
I know, but you killed him. You told him not to be a lead actor anymore, and that's fine.
Absolutely.
But look, and I used to call him Chatting Chat because I never wanted to get his name right. But he deserves respect now, and I'll tell you why.
I loved him
because
from Step Up.
Step Up. Well, my wife did too.
Everybody Step Up.
But again, that goes to your point though from before, is that dudes weren't buying Step Up.
Right.
But what they did buy when he started turning people around in 21 Jump Street, because he nails the comedy. And when you go to see it, you're like, this guy's going to start doing his, look at me. And then he's killing it. Yeah. And then that makes you go, okay, I want to watch his next one. And I'll tell you what, Magic Mike, he was fantastic in.
Yeah.
He carried that movie, even though that Cody Horn almost brought him down in that one scene. It was, that was tough to watch, but that wasn't his fault. It's like, that's again, when you're working with somebody that's giving you nothing,
right?
It builds the chops.
Yeah, and now Christian's taking male stripper classes. So.
Yeah, it's true.
They're going to become like the new pole dancing for men.
There's another transition here. So Katee Sackhoff had to do a pole dancing in
Look at
Longmire.
you with the transition.
I know.
There's pole dancing in Longmire?
She had to do it. Yeah. So how did
our ratings went up that episode?
I'm sure it did. Were you nervous out of your mind doing it? Had you ever done it before?
I actually refused to do it for about a week. I wouldn't do it. I said that this is not something that this person would do. This is not. She's a cop. She's a serious homicide detective from Philadelphia. She's not going to get on stage and dance around. And I lost the battle.
Then her check came in.
And I lost the battle or got paid. And no, just kidding. And I was absolutely petrified. I was absolutely terrified. My manager was there, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. And I went up the first time and was like, I was like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. And by the second take, I was spinning around the pole, 3 more takes and I would have been upside down with just my vag holding onto the pole. It would. I mean, I was getting into it.
You talk about getting hired immediately.
I was immediately. I was like, this is pretty amazing, and the producers were like, we should probably not keep going because she's getting a little too good at this.
Hey guys, turn off the Def Leppard. She's really getting into this.
It's not good, guys. It's not good.
Yeah,
the real strippers in the bar were like, "That was awesome."
Well, now you just got a whole new bunch of viewers now on Longmire. All right, so we're talking actors here. We have a couple more tweets in from you guys. Let's see anybody else that we have tweeting in about actors. Someone had brought up what's his face? Sorry. Oh, no, this is a better question. Sean Amanali asks, is there an Oscar-winning actor who we feel is simply overrated? Anybody you think's overrated?
There's a lot of them.
Cuba Gooding Jr.?
Shit, yeah.
That guy, I hear, is a dirty bastard, too. I hear he's a really dirty
I've heard some stories, yeah.
I've heard some dirty stuff. But who else? Who's won the last... I think about guys who have won. Who's won and not really been doing shit since, besides Cuba Gooding Jr.?
I don't know. Well, first of all, Snow Dogs is not shit, okay?
No.
It's a great family movie.
It's a great family movie.
Damn right.
Stop it.
Boat Trip, I believe.
I believe that was good.
Yeah.
I liked that one.
How do I know this many bad Cuba Gooding Jr.?
The one about him when he was the diver.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right.
What was that one?
With honor or something with honor. I don't know.
Even remember.
Something. Red Tails.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Schmoes Know Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah,
hour.
this is the Cuba Gooding Jr. All right, so
welcome back to the Cube.
If you guys have a couple of that you think are overrated, throw them in there, and we'll see if we agree or not. Tweet us at Schmoes Know.
I think pretty much anyone that's held up a statue for Best Actor in the last decade has been pretty good.
Seems like it.
I think maybe the one, maybe not everybody that hosted the Oscars was great at hosting the Oscars,
Right.
but I think Franco's a great actor though.
I also think that a lot of people that
Sometimes.
get nominated don't necessarily deserve to be nominated, but they usually don't win.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a
It's politics, man. It's politics.
Yeah.
All right, we're taking another phone call. Hey, Justin, what's up, man? What do you got?
Hey, I just wanted to say I think one of the better up-and-coming actors is Jeremy Renner. Because just in the span of 4 years, he's done some great movies like The Hurt Locker, The Town, Mission Impossible 4, The Avengers.
Right.
And even though I know you guys didn't love The Bourne Legacy, I still think he's one of the better up-and-coming actors.
Thank you. Well,
I got damn near close to loving the Bourne. I thought it was awesome.
He was great in it, though. And
Yeah.
we asked a question in our reviews whether or not people thought he was a good lead actor, and a lot of people in the comment section wrote, "Well, he was a lead actor in Hurt Locker, and that's more of a smaller film. It's a great film, smaller film. I'm talking about does he have what it takes to carry the big movie? I thought he was good in it. I thought the character I don't even remember what the character's name was so forgettable.
Well, it wasn't Jason Bourne.
No.
And so you were like, wait, what's the other dude's name? I don't know.
There's only just one, man.
Yeah, his character's like Sean.
There was
Plinkton
never
or
just
something.
one.
There was never just one.
Yeah.
I always think of the Lay's old commercial. You can't eat just
You
one.
can't. I know.
Yeah.
I thought
the
the same thing
government
when I
test
saw that.
subject. You can't eat
You
just
can't
one.
eat just one.
But he's so good in the supporting stuff. Like, he was amazing in The Town. I think he did deserve to be nominated, and he was.
That's also another thing is that he's had phenomenal opportunities,
Yeah.
and out of those opportunities, he's done great work.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. There's a lot of really amazing actors that just haven't gotten the opportunities yet, which is really, it's. I think that once Hollywood jumps on bandwagons, so it takes one big director to believe in you, and then all of a sudden you're like the next it person.
Yeah.
Until they get sick of you, and then they kick you to the curb, and they find another new it person. So
And it takes a while for that to happen,
It
too,
does.
because-
And I think that, sorry to interrupt, but I think that going back to what that guy said about, we need another Van Damme, another Schwarzenegger, another action star. Those guys weren't like overnight action stars. Like they all came in later in the game.
Right.
They were older, and it took years for them to get to the place that they're at. I mean, Rocky might be a different story, but like it took him years to
him a while.
become
Yeah.
Stallone.
Yeah, I mean, look at Christian Bale.
Right.
Christian Bale, was forever. I remember when I was working at Warner Brothers, and there was rumors that he was going to play Superman at one point, back before Brandon Routh and all that stuff too. And he couldn't get. He was looking for the big role. He couldn't. People knew he was a great actor, but he didn't have that big booming success.
Yeah.
And then he gets Batman, and now he's one of the biggest movie stars on the planet.
It's hard. It's hard because it's a completely different demon, and you're fighting against so many different girls, and or guys, and there may be 5 or 6 huge movies, and everyone wants that huge movie.
Yeah.
And you got to have one person believe in you.
It's the
and
truth. All right, one more phone call here, and not one more for the whole time, but just hold on, take another phone call. All right, you're on Schmoeville. Who do you got?
Hey.
Hey, man. What's up?
I'm Austin, and I just want to know.
Thought you just said I'm awesome.
No, he's awesome.
Are you Austin?
And he's awesome.
Yeah, and I want to know your thoughts on Andrew Lincoln.
On Andrew who?
Lincoln.
Andrew Lincoln.
Who's that?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to Google.
He was
him.
the guy that killed vampires in the 1800s. He was also president for. No, that's Abraham.
Yeah, I was gonna say
That's
no.
Totally different Lincoln.
Yeah, we'll find out who he is in a second, and I'll let you know.
Andrew Lincoln.
Oh, Andrew Lincoln. He's from Walking Dead. He's the lead character in Walking Dead.
I need to see a picture of him.
Hold on. Andrew Lincoln is he's the main character in Walking Dead. Have you watched Walking Dead?
Got it. Yeah, he was in something else. I remember.
He's great. I mean, he's another guy. He's
another dude doing an accent,
right? Another guy doing an accent, and he is. I like him. Sometimes I feel like he's in his head sometimes trying to make sure he gets the accent down, and he may lose the character here and there. But I love the guy. I think he's great for the role. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's one of those guys that he'll be locked into Walking Dead for a long time, and maybe he'll pop into movies. The jury's still out on Mr. Lincoln.
You know, someone else who I think is amazing and up and coming is is Joel Kinnaman. Speaking of TV actors that are blowing up, Joel Kinnaman is the lead guy on The Killing. He's the new RoboCop.
Oh wow!
Phenomenal, phenomenal actor, and again, foreign.
He's like he's the male partner.
He's the male partner. He's brilliant, and I can't wait to see what he does with RoboCop.
He's a new RoboCop, huh?
Yeah.
You gotta have great, and again, I hate to go back to lips, but you gotta have great lips to play RoboCop.
Well,
so Tom Hardy would have been my first choice.
I worked with Peter Welling, right? Weller. I should know this. He directed an episode of Longmire.
Oh, cool.
When I actually was auditioning for RoboCop, and I had to put myself on tape, and I was like, "Would you like to read with me?"
Oh, that's awesome!
Yeah.
Look at Ellis.
Really?
Very excited.
He didn't do it, but whatever.
And
I didn't get the role.
RoboCop.
Fuck him.
Son of a
Fucking
bitch.
Peter Weller.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing,
you and your gorgeous lips, Peter.
Well, that's the thing though too. People that's the one role for they're not people are gonna be like, oh, he's not gonna be able to replace Peter Weller.
Yeah,
Peter Weller when he got RoboCop, it's just like, who the hell's Peter Weller? But he was so great in it. Like the first, and you recently watched the second one, and you're not a huge fan of it.
I came home drunk and watched the second one. It was on HBO Go, and I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's have a party.
I love it.
Yeah, and the second one is not great.
I got to tell you, though, small guy, 5'10",
Peter Weller,
5'9", yeah.
Oh
Really?
man, I thought he was like a
Joel Kinnaman's like 6'4".
Oh wow, that's more intimidating for RoboCop. All right, our buddy George McCann wrote in as far as overrated actors who won the Oscar. Adrian Brody. I think
he's great in those Gillette commercials.
No, he's not. He's annoying as shit in those things.
Have you seen the facial hair that guy's pulling off?
What?
The facial hair he's pulling off is
facial hair, but his face, he looks like, oh, look at me, look at my cook. It's like I can't stand that guy.
I don't think he's saying that at all.
The only thing, actually, a movie I really thought he was great in recently was Midnight in Paris. He's not in it very often, but when he nails it.
Yeah.
And I thought that he was kind of miscast in Predators and.
Oh no, I thought he was good in Predators.
I actually thought he was good in Predators too. He was the reason I wanted that role so much.
Because he was in it?
Because he was in it. Yeah, I fought for that.
And he's one of those guys that I went into Predators thinking, okay, we better see a lot of aliens because Adrian Brody ain't going to pull this character off. And he pulls off.
He wasn't
being a
terrible,
tough guy.
but I do think he's overrated. He hasn't really done much since he won the Oscar.
I think that's unfair. He's got a huge nose. He's hard to cast in a lot of
stuff. I think it's
stuff.
unfair. The first thing you brought up after him was the Gillette commercials.
Yeah, well, he's great in the Gillette commercials.
Right, exactly. What else has he done?
Gail Garcia's in the Gillette commercials too.
Andre 3000.
Yeah, I know, but Gail Garcia, you can bring up other movies that he was fantastic in.
He was in the Mary movie.
Y tu mamá también.
Y tu mamá también. He was amazing. He's fantastic.
He is. A big fan.
Yeah.
My rule is if I can't pronounce the title of the movie convincingly, then I don't watch it.
All right, guys, we're winding down here, so make sure you call in or tweet in any questions you got for Katee. And I'm going to take another call here. Andrew from Virginia. Hey, Andrew, what's up, man? What do you got?
Hello.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
I was wondering if you guys could talk about maybe Michael Fassbender, because I loved him in X-Men First Class playing as Magneto and in Prometheus as David. I was wondering maybe y'all could talk about him for a little bit.
We certainly can. What part of Virginia are you from, really quick?
Fredericksburg.
Fredericksburg. Represent. Well done, sir. They have internet in Fredericksburg. I'm from Williamsburg. We don't have that there yet.
Not yet.
Fassbender,
like 20 years.
Fassbender was so good as Magneto in X-Men First Class. He blew me away in that movie.
Yeah.
I didn't love the movie, but he was so much fun to watch.
I love
as
that movie.
Magneto.
You know what sucks is that we only have a minute left, and we got to do a couple. Plugs here. So we got to sign off. Katee, you got to come back soon. How long are you going to be? How long are you going to be in town?
I am. We don't go back till like March for Longmire,
Okay, so you'll
and
be back soon.
a couple movies that I'll be in and out for.
All right,
cool. So you start doing like pole practice again when? In,
I do.
February?
So like February,
Yeah.
right after Christmas. Get rid of that Christmas.
I'll watch
weight.
by the time you're on the podcast again. I'll watch Longmire. I'll say that.
All right, Katee, when can they find Longmire?
Well, the season ends this Sunday on A&E at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Check your local listings because it's different everywhere.
Check your TV guide.
That's right.
Yeah.
Follow Katee at Katee Sackhoff. on Twitter. You can follow us at SchmoesKnow. Make sure you're youtube.com/SchmoesKnow. And you can catch me tomorrow night on the Roddy Piper's Rod Pod. I'll be co-hosting again. I love that show. That guy is so awesome.
Christian is there to kick ass and chew gum, and he's all out of bubble gum.
That's
Heidi
right.
and Frank's coming up next. It's the Schmoes Know Movies podcast. We'll catch you next week.